The Phoenix Suns, despite all the odds stacked against them, have officially clinched the #1 seed in the NBA, as practically all season long, this team has shown that they are the most complete team in the league. They've extended their win streak to 8 straight games and are playing some of the best basketball that we've seen all year long out of this group, and this could not be at a more perfect time with the playoffs right around the corner. Devin Booker is looking like an MVP candidate right now, Chris Paul is finally back from injury, and this team's chemistry is on a completely different planet compared to the rest of the NBA, and all of these things I will get into in this video. As the Suns now lock up their seating arrangements for the playoffs, the headlines surrounding if they're going to start giving their players some rest to get them fresh for the playoffs is a mystery most fans want the answers to. But what surprised me the most, and I think makes everything about this team just that much more special, is the fact that they're all impressively enough on the exact same page about taking these last 7 games of the season and using them to their advantage in terms of trying out different defensive coverages that they may use for the playoffs, and instead of resting, using these games to ramp up for the playoffs. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps me out a ton. This team has been through a lot this season, with the pandemic forcing guys to miss games, injuries up and down the roster. It honestly wouldn't be the worst idea for this team to take these games to ensure that everyone is healthy and ready for the postseason. However, DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams said it best, where they need to keep this momentum going by still playing at a high level, and practically every guy in this roster has missed some time with injury this season. So Ayton stated everybody on this team already got their rest, and along many of his teammates, they don't want to be sitting any more games. This attitude only means one thing about this team, and it's the fact that every single guy has bought into the one and only goal they have for this season, and that is to win the NBA championship this year. Anything below that, they will determine this season as a loss, and frankly, there's no other way around it for these guys, and they're putting their words into actions with some of the things they've been able to do this season. They rank 2nd in the NBA in offensive rating, 2nd in defensive rating, which has resulted in them having the NBA's best net rating. They have the 2nd best assist to turnover ratio, 3rd best true shooting percentage. They score the 2nd most points per game, have the best field goal percentage, and the 4th best 3-point percentage, where honestly, these stats can go on and on, as they practically rank in at least the top 10 in almost every statistical category, where most of the time they are no lower than top 5 in the NBA. The consistency this team has showed all year of being the NBA's best team is remarkable, especially considering all the injuries this team had to face, where many guys needed to step up in their place and attempt to provide a similar impact. With that came this team holding 2 of the 3 longest win streaks of the regular season, with 18 wins and 11 wins, on top of the fact that they are currently on an 8-game win streak and have just got one of their best players back from injury in Chris Paul. CP3 is one of, if not the best floor general in the entire NBA, and the impact that he has while he's on the floor is what turns great teams into a completely separate category of elite, and it's extremely safe to say that he will do just that for this Suns team. What was rather shocking to see during that time that he went out was how this team managed to stay at that elite level of play, even with him out of the lineup. The Suns went 11-4 without Paul manning the ship, and in this 15-game stretch, saw more than just him out of the lineup, as Booker missed a few games, and now Cam Johnson is still out with an injury of his own. This is where the depth of this already extremely talented roster was put on full display, as the moment he was called up as a starter, Cam Payne did not waste his opportunity, as he was able to average 14, nearly 10 assists per game, and over a steal during his time as a starter. Torrey Craig, Cam Johnson, and Landry Shamet all had moments of their own where they were also given the opportunity to start for this team, and the same could be said for those 3, as they did everything in their power to take advantage of the opportunity. On top of just how talented these starting group of guys on this team are, the Suns have just as strong of a bench unit to complement this, with guys at every position ready to fill in, and they have proven that they can still play at their best even when their top players are out all season. Hopefully the Suns finally have a stretch during the season where they're at their 100%, something that has been quite rare for this club, as Chris Paul finally being back in the lineup for the Suns is a sight that I know many people want to see, as he can take this Suns team to the promised land, and he has looked to not have missed a beat in the games he's played since returning. In the 2 games that he was finally able to be back in the lineup for, Chris Paul had 2 phenomenal games where he averaged 18 points, 13.5 assists, and shot 60% from the field, which are numbers that I don't even need to explain just how good they are and just how much this team missed their point guard. And now it's finally time to talk about the guy that nearly isn't getting enough attention in the MVP conversation, and that is Devin Booker. What he's been able to do all season long, and especially as of late becoming the leader on this team, is why he deserves, in my opinion, to be at least a part of the MVP conversation, especially considering the Suns are and have been the best team all season long. His play in particular on this 8-game streak is something that needs a tremendous amount of emphasis on, as he's playing like one of the best players in the entire NBA. He's been averaging 33 points, 6 assists, 1.4 steals a game, shooting 56% from the field and 41.5% from 3, numbers that have been impeccable and are one of the main reasons why this team has won 8 straight. With Booker playing at this elite level, it's just going to make things that much more difficult for other teams to stop with everything the team already has to deal with, and it begs the question if anybody has a real chance of actually defeating this team in a 7-game series. Booker is playing some of the best basketball of his career, and that level of play is up there with some of the best in the entire NBA right now, something that is crucial in the playoffs as he has the ability to put the team on his back in crunch time. This team has one of the best leaders and playmakers of all time on their team, who has plenty of playoff experience, still looking for that championship ring, but nonetheless, Chris Paul has created an atmosphere in this locker room that can be a difference maker in a deep playoff run. They have one of the best coaches in the NBA in Monty Williams, who have also locked up the best record as well, which means they will have home court advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs for however long they manage to stay in. They have DeAndre Ayton, a top 5 center in the league, who excels at being the recipient of the outstanding playmaking on this team, who does a fantastic job of manning the paint on both sides of the ball. One of the best defenders in the NBA in Mikal Bridges, who's been in the conversation to win the Defensive Player of the Year award. They've got role players who know their roles and they're happy with them and even excel at all the little things that they do. They have the best home record in the NBA and the best record against teams with a winning record by a mile. They're the highest scoring team in the NBA, as I've mentioned before, and they've been a top 3 defense all year long. The question we all should be asking this team is what exactly can't they do or accomplish that we haven't yet seen from this group, as they practically have everything you need on paper to be successful. They just need to go out there and execute in the playoffs, which is even something that we saw just last year as they made it to the finals, but ultimately fell short to the Bucks. This is another thing that I view as a positive in disguise for this team, as it forced them to be twice as hungry to get back to that position they were in last year, but to change the result of the finals. And this is something that I think has transformed this team into a beast that we have not yet seen before, with a serious shot to complete their redemption story and hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. You would need to make an extremely strong argument as to who you think could beat this team at 100% in a 7-game series, but I want to know down below in the comments if you think there is a team that has a shot at eliminating them from the playoffs this year. As always, if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like to help this video get shared along YouTube's algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more NBA videos like this one that I will be posting multiple times per week. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.